Welcome in to the Boulevard on this Monday night. Glad to have you with us for Derek Mason Live on the second to last Monday night of the regular season of college football before all the postseason gets underway. And first of all, I just got to say, how do you do it? You have the most impeccable timing of anybody I know. I mean, here we are in show number 11 of 12.
Yes, sir.
And you have a way of rolling in here with exactly 28 seconds before the show starts. I mean, I'm impressed.
Well, that had everything to do with recruiting tonight.
Well, that's
right?
fine. That's fine.
Right. I mean, we're definitely in the midst of a heavy recruiting period, a heavy recruiting time. And so you got to keep the main thing. And so, as you're doing football, man, we've been hard at work, obviously, heading into this New Mexico State game. We've had a bye, and just looking at the time available to us, and coming off a heavy recruiting weekend.
Correct.
This weekend we had 18 or 19 official visitors on campus this weekend, and the follow-up has to be omnipresent. So right now we're in the thick of football and recruiting.
Yeah, and as we talked here last week, and I'm going to spend a good bit of time today talking about recruiting, roster building,
right,
roster management, that kind of thing. We do have a special guest. One of the top 10 punters in college football is with us tonight, and it's Mr. Grant Chadwick of Tullahoma. He will be here with us tonight, and he's had a great freshman year. But obviously with the open date this past Saturday and New Mexico State coming up, you guys, the timing could not have been much better for an open date. And we talked a little bit about that last week, about the preparation going into it. Now to kind of dissect it a little bit, you said you had 19 guys here for official visits. How many of those were, you said last week every one of them are kids that you have been talking to and in on for about a year now. How many had already made their commitment?
17.
17 of the 19.
17 were already.
What were the other
committed.
two waiting on?
The opportunity, right? The opportunity. So yeah, that's, you know what, you still, in the day and age of portal, you still have to have a high school recruiting base. You do, especially at the group of 5 level, because it's still about development. I mean, as you can see, talented young players like Grant Chadwick. Well, he's a freshman. You don't always have to go to the portal to grab good players. And I think when you've had a full year of recruit, not just a partial, a full year, you've had a chance to see guys all the way through. Did we know that everybody in our year 0 recruiting class would be a player? No, you don't. Generally, in your 0 recruiting class or first year, especially with hires, you didn't get a chance to see the totality of somebody's senior year. You just look at the production. And production is always a pretty good indicator of what somebody can do. Now, in Grant's case, that's a pretty good predictor, because for him, other people don't really affect. A snapper helps, but somebody else doesn't really affect what he does. He's like a golfer. He can perfect what he does. When you talk about linemen, running backs, receivers, other positions, that have to get the football, block other people, handle the physical pressures of what it takes to be a college football player, sometimes that takes a little longer. So just in looking at it, the totality of this class coming in is going to be pretty good. They're long, they're athletic. We feel good about size because we think size matters, but production. If I look at the guys that are committed to us, and this is a pretty cool stat, right? Only 4 of those guys, only 4 of the 19 can show up on Friday because they were done, with their high school seasons. Everybody else was in playoff games, so they couldn't get here until Saturday. So you like the you like the number of of 14 guys or 15 guys showing up on Saturday because they were all in playoff games the night before.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and like you said, this was did you have any JUCOs come in, or was this all high school kids?
All high school for this
time around. And I remember signing day in December last year. Mm-hmm. I think I was in the beautiful city of Cedar City, Utah.
Okay.
With men's basketball, and watching your signing day press conference and talking to you over a Zoom call. But you guys had been here about a week, maybe 2 weeks.
That's right.
So when and here you had been on television for a year and had not been active in the recruiting circle. How important was it to you to bring guys in really quickly last year that were active and being involved in it, and how much of it was, you talked about production, looking at stat sheets where this year, you've got full-blown relationships with every one of the 19 guys who came in here this past weekend?
Yeah, a year ago was totally different. It was fast. We had to make some fast decisions. Counted on the staff that was here to actually give us intel, in-depth intel into who they were, like some of these athletes were, because the production only tells part of the story. Do they love football? It doesn't. You can be productive, but if you don't love the game of football, well then you'll see it as a pastime, and eventually you'll get bored and want to move on, right? So it's hard not to make a mistake or two because you don't know. But all you can rely on is the information that's in front of you.
Right.
And we tried to detail it as much as we could. We talked to as many people as we could. We tried to do in-depth homework. What people don't understand is that when you bring student athletes on campus, you actually get a chance to do a real physical, right? I mean, a physical where you check shoulders, you check knees. There's times where we've taken or not taken a student athlete based on the physical. Had nothing to do with the physical attributes. It had more to do with, the injury, or the unpronounced injury, or
right.
maybe the unseen injury, right? So you want to make sure that you can get it right. And there's times where you're willing to take that risk and still, go ahead. It may require surgery. It may be a knee, a shoulder. You try to stay away from backs. Right, mm-hmm. Because that's generally a red flag. When you're talking about the contact and really the repetitive contact that you see in football. But right now, when you talk about recruiting and what it looks like, it takes about a year's time to accurately assess high school talent. You got to get enough information.
Yeah, and one thing that did play into your favor is that you are not unfamiliar with all the high school coaches in this area and the high school programs in this area.
Let me tell you, Middle Tennessee is rich in football. Always has been, always will be. And as the population.
Well, we've been taught over years that we weren't as good as Georgia. We weren't as good as Alabama. Weren't as good as Florida. But we've seen great improvement, I think, over the last 10, 15 years.
Well, you've seen great improvement because you've seen great growth. Mm-hmm. The reality is everywhere from Shelbyville all the way to North Nashville and in between, it's all grown. It's all grown. And so, as folks have moved in, as cycles of players, I mean, there's generations of players, right? I mean, you could talk about the Matusik family.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's been good players, to come through Middle Tennessee. A lot of good players. Well, their kids have kids, right? And those players have grown up, and now their kids are going to college, and you want to be able to recruit those guys too. So I think now more than ever, Middle Tennessee is just ripe with talent, top to bottom. We can't even touch it all. We're trying to, but you can't recruit everybody.
You'd love to put up a fence.
Yeah, you'd love to put up a fence.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Coach Derek Mason is with us tonight, and we're talking here in this first half hour a lot about recruiting and roster management. So always an interesting topic in this day and age. We'll take a timeout, step aside. More from the Boulevard after this on the Blue Raider Network from Van Wagner.
our rewards checking, you can...
Oh, get cash back for my purchases? Tap reward?
Yep. So no matter how you handle your money, Ascend Federal Credit Union has the right checking account for you. Interest-earning checking earns 3.56% annual percentage yield up to $15,000. Some restrictions apply.
Not feeling well and need to see a doctor? Find the care you need now at Ascension St. Thomas. We're here with 24/7 ER care, same-day care, and walk-in urgent care for broken bones, sprains, allergies, sore throats, and more. Visit ascension.org/St. Thomas Care to get the right care at the right place at the right time. Serving Middle Tennessee State University, Murfreesboro, and surrounding communities.
How do you create a tradition of leadership? You power it with impressive towing and hauling, sharpen it with smart features like a mobile generator, and dominate the game 47 years straight. That's Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks, a legacy of excellence, only at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Available features. See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions based on 1977 to 2023 total sales.
Roscoe Brown is proud to be a longtime supporter of MTSU Athletics and your locally owned HVAC and plumbing company for over 80 years. Roscoe Brown has been the trusted name for heating, cooling, and plumbing for Middle Tennessee homeowners and businesses. Call 888-MY-ROSCOE to schedule your HVAC or plumbing service today. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Roscoe Brown. People you know, a name you trust. Go Blue Raiders.
Roscoe Brown. RoscoeBrown.com.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in supporting and treating Middle Tennessee State University athletes, providing expert treatment of injuries to bones, joints, or muscles. TOA's team of orthopedic specialists can get you back in the game. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Injured? Visit one of our many ortho urgent cares, or to make an appointment, call 1-855-NEED-TOA or visit www.toa.com. TOA, the official team doctor for Blue Raider Athletics.
Last 30.
Alumni Association is proud of its more than 130,000 living alumni who are leading, teaching, entertaining, researching, flying, farming, nursing, and more worldwide. Every Blue Raider accomplishment adds value to your degree. Are you connected to the MTSU National Alumni Association? Visit mtalumni.com to share what you're doing. Update your information and see how you can be involved and informed. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Coming up in 3, 2.
Welcome back into the Boulevard. Chip Walters along with Coach Derek Mason. Our program tonight brought to you by Raiders Rising Collective, the official NIL collective for MTSU Athletics. Raiders Rising provides student athletes from all 17 varsity teams the opportunity to earn income based on their name, image, and likeness. Follow Raiders Rising on X and RaidersRising.com for more information on upcoming events, how to donate, become a member, and more. And Coach, being that Raiders Rising, the collective, is one of our sponsors, I had an email question for you, and it says, it was from Brad Warden, who wanted to know, what does a group of 5 offensive line cost these days?
You know what? That's a good question. Collectively, probably around $300,000, $350,000. That's what it costs. I mean, the reality is that's where it's gone. And, you know, people may not want to hear that, but the reality of it is that's where we're at. And so it's tough because players are being poached all across the country. And guys are entering the portal sometimes with the idea of being able to capture a payday. The biggest thing I can tell you is you know, the opportunity to earn is fantastic, but the grass is not always greener on the other side. I think what you have to do is make sure that you're at a place where you can be developed. You're going to get, you know, an opportunity to play, because most of the guys think that they're going to play at the next level. And the important thing about playing at the next level is games played. It's production. When you start looking at the two biggest factors two biggest factors of draft prediction, One is games played, the other is production, period. Now, some guys haven't played a lot of games, but I can tell you what I can tell you, having been in draft rooms before and having drafted players, we always in Minnesota erred on the side of production. We did. We looked at production, and our players, always turned out pretty good. We rarely missed on draft picks as well as free agents because we always went the route of games played and production.
You said, I think it was back during spring ball. It was during a media availability. Again, one of those things you said, people don't necessarily want to hear this, but we're a developmental program.
That's right.
And it's something you still believe.
It is, okay.
Tell folks what you mean by that.
Okay, here's what I mean. Amari Kelly was at Auburn. Okay, in 2 years, Amari Kelly had 5 catches. Okay, he didn't have an opportunity, okay, to get on the field, okay, and play. A lot of times, it's not about your talent. It's about playing, making mistakes, and growing from the mistakes so that you can become the player you're supposed to be. Now, for some, okay, it hits right off the bat. The spark gets lit, and they play as freshmen, and it looks that way all the way through. There are some guys that play as freshmen, okay, and they tail off towards the end of their career. Okay, somebody like Amari came to this place, much like Parker Hughes, okay, who's developing right now. Xavier Williams, who's developing right now. And, if you want to be honest, Kevin Byard developed here, okay? Reed Blankenship, okay, developed here. Travarius Ward developed here, okay? They came to this place. They played a lot of football. They played games. And what you saw at the end of their journey was a really good product, okay? Products are developed, and that's what Group of 5 does. Right now, okay, in P4 football, they're looking for those guys that are ready-made. They're looking for the Amari Kellys of the world who have had production, who have shown that even against a team like Ole Miss, you can put up big numbers. So development is always going to happen at the Group of 5 level. And you're always going to have bigger folks coming to get those players. But we're always going to develop. So that's why people look at us and say, you know what, who's on their roster and who's playing well?
Yeah. So what do you tell fans then? Don't worry, don't lose sleep over it, because I know you don't want to hear it, but it's who we are, and that's what we're doing, and we're doing a good job of that.
But here's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of these young men, okay, like the young men at Boise, they're enjoying their experience. Young men at Tulane, they're enjoying their Group of 5 experience. I want to tell you, when communities are supporting players and players get involved in their communities, what you start to see is this synergy, okay, between athletes and communities that's unbreakable. That's something that sort of fuels the student-athlete experience. They enjoy playing in front of the crowd. They enjoy going downtown, okay, and being at the farmer's market. They get a chance to enjoy everything that you offer in your community. So that's what a Group of 5 experience looks like versus a P4 experience. I've been at both. Okay, it's hard sometimes, okay, in the P4 experience to enjoy the crowd or to enjoy, what the university or what the town offers, because a lot of time you have to keep your athletes away, from those things, because you're worried about, things happening or people overrunning them, or are they always being, worried about an autograph? In places like this, you get a chance to know the community. And I think that's an experience that's transformational, not transactional. Okay, you can only make so much money in your lifetime. I'm glad if you get an opportunity to make it, but what I will tell you is relationships and networks will always outlast, okay, the money that you have in the moment.
Yep, and I'm one of those guys. I hope to see, 20 years from now, if I'm still able to walk around and sit up straight, that a lot of these guys are still coming back and saying, "Hey, Chip, I want you to meet my kids, and show them where I went to school."
That's
those
right.
kind of things. I don't want to lose that.
Well, you know what? I was not too long ago in a Hall of Fame induction. we saw Jamari Lattimore.
Yes.
And the cool thing about him was, like, he stood up and he said in his induction, his teammates, Coach Stock, he just remembered, his defensive coordinator, he remembered everybody he played with. He remembered, what they went through, and he was thankful, for that time. So, to me, what you said is exactly right. They do want to come back. They do want to recognize those people. In today's game a little bit, when we start talking about, portal and what it looks like, you may be at 3 different schools, so which school do you go to?
Well, yeah, where do you go for homecoming?
Yeah.
So,
you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Derek Mason here. Really interesting stuff going here. Got a little bit more to talk about roster management and all in our next segment. I want to remind you tonight's program brought to you in part by the Lee Company. Get ahead of the game with the best home services team in town for your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and home improvement needs. Lee Company is the team to call, 615-867-1000 or online at leecompany.com. More from the Boulevard after this on the Blue Raider Network from Van Wagner.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Plan ahead and plan for success. Put Lee Company on your team for all your facility and home maintenance needs. They are proud to be an official partner of the MTSU Blue Raiders and have serviced homes and businesses for 80 years. For the very best heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical services, call Lee Company at 615-867-1000. Visit them at leecompany.com or call 615-867-1000.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Pay the Order of Hope. Promise. Tomorrow. For years, the Tennessee Lottery has written some pretty big checks, but it turns out that our biggest winner continues to be education. In fact, we've raised more than $7.5 billion and provided more than 2 million scholarships and grants for Tennessee students. Learn more about how lottery dollars are making a difference at tnlottery.com. It's game-changing, life-changing fun.
When it comes to money, I'm a saver.
Me too. Though I can also be a bit of a spender.
Well, Ascend has got you both covered. With our interest-earning checking, you can
earn interest so I can save money for my beach trip?
Sure. And with our rewards checking, you can
get cash back for my purchases? Tap reward?
Yep. So no matter how you handle your money, Ascend Federal Credit Union has the right checking account for you. Interest-earning checking earns 3.56% annual percentage yield up to $15,000. Some restrictions apply.
Not feeling
last 30
to see a doctor? Find the care you need now at Ascension St. Thomas. We're here with 24/7 ER care, same-day care, and walk-in urgent care for broken bones, sprains, allergies, sore throats, and more. Visit ascension.org/St. Thomas Care to get the right care at the right place at the right time. Serving Middle Tennessee State University, Murfreesboro, and surrounding communities.
Coming up in 3, 2.
Welcome back into the Boulevard on this Monday night. Chip Walters along with the head coach, Derek Mason. And because of the open date and having a show tonight, it's been really fun to kind of talk about the makeup of your football team, makeup of the roster. You had 19 kids in here, all high school this past weekend, and 17 of them have already committed. Talk a little bit about what the rules are now with roster numbers, scholarship numbers, and what does that mean to Middle Tennessee?
Well, what it means to the landscape of college football is that with going down to 105 from a 120 roster, that's 15 less spots.
Total.
That's
walk-ons, scholarship guys, everything.
That's walk-ons, that's scholarship players, but that's 15 less opportunities per university. Now, some universities were well above 120 because once school started, you were able to, allow guys to come in. So their rosters may have ballooned up to 130, 134, right? But the reality is a minimum of 15 student athletes per school. Okay, that's FBS and FCS. Okay, will be out of opportunities, right? So,
does that push numbers down the funnel?
It does push numbers down the funnel, but I think what you're going to see, okay, in this day and age of portal, in this day and age of needing to win, wanting to win, it's going to be less high school athletes being taken every year. I think you're going to see like the numbers go down. Okay, what was once 15 to 18 may go down to 10 to 12 depending on the roster, right? Because there's still this space for some teams at times where there's going to have to be opportunities for some of these student athletes to win. And here's what's happening. We're seeing more qualifiers in junior college than we've ever seen. So what's happened is there were less opportunities. I mean, and this is even in the last couple of years. There's been more junior colleges, okay, taking on players and more qualifiers going to junior college and playing 1 year of junior college ball and still having their years of eligibility left. And so therefore, if we're looking at, coaches are looking at players that have some college experience. So high school is good. Junior college is a little better because the competition is a little better. So it still doesn't mean that we're not taking high school players. It just means that there is an emphasis now on getting a little older, a little faster.
Yeah. Now, in the reality of this day and age, the new age of college football, you've got the December signing period. You still have the February signing period. And again, I'm talking about our backyard here.
Yeah.
What is more important to you? Is it more important to get your roster locked down as quickly as you can in December, or do you want to save spots and see what's there in February, and also the potential of saving some spots for what comes up in the window following spring practice? How do you balance that in your mind?
Okay, well, with the December signing period, with the February signing period, you work as hard as you can to sign the majority of your roster in December, okay, or get them on campus by January. Here's why. Spring ball is extremely important. Okay, a lot of those guys, whether we're talking high school, junior college, or even transfer portal, you'd like to have those guys on your campus in January. The reality is you can't get everybody in January, so you're gonna have to push some players out. I think the signing of players in December is important. When they get to your campus, when high school players get to your campus, isn't necessarily all that important. The idea is just to make sure that you feel like you've signed players that are talented enough, okay? And
you'd love to have that early graduate, but
you'd love to have the early high school graduate, but to me, it's critical at maybe quarterback. It may be critical in O-line, right? Okay, because those guys need time on task. Everybody else, I'd push. The reality of it is you like to sign most of your roster, okay, in either December, okay, or have them signed, because not everybody has to sign in December. Junior college and transfer portal, they can sign whenever. Mm-hmm. But you'd like to have the majority of your class signed without holding back, because you don't know what's going to be available on the backside. Okay, and generally that's been picked through. Okay, like understand that. Okay, it's generally when you wait later, you're generally not getting the best, okay, version, okay, of what's out there. The best versions are earlier, and that's why they have an early signing period, and that's why they tell you to make sure as best you can get in there early, attack it early, and try to get those guys you want on the front end.
Well, I mean, you guys had a large number after spring ball of last year. Do you feel like that number will be less, that we'll see whatever that number total was of the 60 new guys? Do you feel like that number is going to be more heavy toward December and February than April or May?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's going to be heavier towards December.
Okay.
And rightfully so. I think going in what the attrition rate's going to be. There's always going to be some outliers. And for the outliers, you're probably going to have to wait later because those decisions come a little late.
Yeah. Well, I tell you that. I mean, that's one of the more interesting half hours. I really appreciate you being open about that, because it is not an exact science, and it's hard. It's hard for fans to figure it out because we're so used to it being one way forever, and now it's so different. And how you guys have changed. The way you go about your business is amazing.
Chip, what I'll tell you is, like, the landscape of college football in the last 24 months, okay, man, it's been volcanic, like, to say the least. Okay, a lot of eruptions, a lot of things happening. It's going up and down. Like, there's a lot happening with, like, the House case that's coming up in April. Okay, like, that'll shift and move some things around too. I think for the most part, the structuring of signing dates and what's happening with transfer portal, those things are starting to solidify themselves, but governance is still going to be an issue here for the next 24 months. So stay tuned.
Yep, stay tuned. Well, like you said, one of those things you want to have is that good base of high school players, and one of those who was a phenom last year is Grant Chadwick of Tullahoma, and he's going to be our guest when we return after this on Derek Mason Live, here from the Boulevard on the Blue Raider Network from Van Wagner.
Crowd becomes one at a big game. You can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Plan ahead and plan for success. Put Lead Company on your team for all your facility and home maintenance needs. They are proud to be an official partner of the MTSU Blue Raiders and have serviced homes and businesses for 80 years. For the very best heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical services, call Lead Company at 615-867-1000. Visit them at leadcompany.com or call 615-867-1000.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Pay the order of hope. Promise. Tomorrow. For years, the Tennessee Lottery has written some pretty big checks, but it turns out that our biggest winner continues to be education. In fact, we've raised more than $7.5 billion and provided more than 2 million scholarships and grants for Tennessee students. Learn more about how lottery dollars are making a difference at tnlottery.com. It's game-changing, life-changing fun.
When it comes to money, I'm a saver.
Me too. Though I can also be a bit of a spender.
Well, Ascend has got you both covered. With our interest-earning checking, you can
earn interest so I can save money for my beach trip?
Sure. And with our rewards checking, you can
get cash back for my purchases? Tap reward?
Yep. So no matter how you handle your money, Ascend Federal Credit Union has the right checking account for you. Interest-earning checking earns 3.56% annual percentage yield up to $15,000. Some restrictions apply.
Not feeling well and need to see a doctor? Find the care you need now at Ascension St. Thomas. We're here with 24/7 ER care, same-day care, and walk-in urgent care for broken bones, sprains, allergies, sore throats, and more. Visit ascension.org/St. Thomas Care to get the right care at the right place at the right time. serving Middle Tennessee State University, Murfreesboro, and surrounding communities.
Coming up in 3.
On video. Here we go. Welcome back into the Boulevard, and Derek Mason live continuing along. I want to remind you, with nearly 200 majors and concentrations for undergrads and more than 100 graduate programs, Middle Tennessee State University has something for everyone, including more than 50 online degrees. Do you want high school or high quality, affordable education? Well, it's not too late. Learn more at mtsu.edu/how to apply. So, welcome in our special guest tonight, a freshman from Tullahoma, Tennessee, Mr. Grant Chadwick, and the starting punter for the Blue Raiders. And I mentioned one of the top punters in the country. Here's right off this week's notes. Freshman Grant Chadwick having a memorable year for the Blue Raiders. Entering the New Mexico State game this week, Chadwick is averaging 43.5 yards per punt, with 18 of his 45 kicks going for more than 50 yards. His 43.4 average is currently the 6th best single-season average in school history. That's in 110 years of Blue Raider football, and the best ever by a freshman. He's on the Ray Guy Award watch list, also has the 4th best average nationally by a freshman, and is 12th overall among group of 5 punters, and that is very exciting. Now, Grant, if I had asked you here and asked you about your punting after the Tennessee Tech game, what would you have said?
Oh, yeah, I wasn't really satisfied with that game.
Yeah, I thought, but you got it turned around. After about 2 weeks, I mean, you really figured it out pretty quick. What were you doing or not doing that was not up to your own personal standards?
I mean, you can just, tell by the results they weren't up to my standards. I think part of it was just getting comfortable, being in game, comfortable with the new punt scheme as well. We have an offset snap with our formation. That's something I wasn't used to, but getting reps early on, helped with that. And so it's been smooth since then.
Yeah, I mean, you play for a very active special teams coach in Coach Luke Pascal.
Yeah.
What is it like to play for him? Because, I mean, if you don't take special teams, seriously, he's not the guy you want to be around. But you do, obviously, and he's very, very into it.
Oh, yeah. So, playing for Coach Pascal, you're held to a higher standard every day, practice, games. There's really no off days, and that's for everyone, not just the specialists. From the guys on the line to the guys outside, you're expected to be the best your position every day. And there's a lot of energy, not just in his meetings, not just in practice, even at games. He's always wanting the best from us, and he really brings the best out of us.
Yep. You grew up in Tullahoma,
Yes,
in a kicking family.
Yes,
Talk a little bit about your family and in particular your brother.
Yeah.
And what it was like to play on some really, really good high school teams with Coach John Olive, great high school coach. You were on the state championship team, right?
I was, yes.
Okay, in the 4A championship team at Tullahoma. Talk what that was like to be in that community that, only high school in town. Friday nights, the lights come on over there at Wildcat Stadium, everybody's there.
Yeah, it's awesome. The community there really gets behind the football team and really all the sports. I played basketball as well, and that was also, a huge thing. And that was really where my love for football specifically was introduced. The community they show up at the games. The game with Coffee County, our rivalry game, it's
the coffee
huge.
pot.
Coffee pot, yeah, it's huge. But yeah, that's where my my love for the game stemmed off of. And my brother, growing up watching him, be a really good high school kicker, inspired me to do the same. I stopped playing, every position except for kicking, and he was a big part of that, bringing the best out of me. And I made a lot of progress my underclassmen years and became really good. And so, I really give the credit to him for that.
Yeah. What's been the biggest difference in the high school game and the college game as far as what you do is concerned?
Yeah, so for one, just the speed of the operations. Everything's happening a lot faster. You also, the guys that are coming after you are about 6, 7 inches taller, weigh 100 pounds more. A lot more pressure on you as well, especially you step into big stadiums. This standard you're held to as well, just being expected to do much better, in high school. I was just a high school kid. I wasn't expected to, produce the way I am here. And so that's a big difference as well.
Yeah. If you were not a punter, what position would we see Grant Chadwick playing?
I always wanted to be a quarterback growing up. Just something about it. I love throwing the ball. I still throw the ball all the time. I'm probably throwing the ball in practice more than I am kicking it, on the sidelines. But I'd probably be a receiver. I'm pretty athletic. I have good hands. Yeah, for sure.
What about speed? Would speed hurt you or hinder you if you were a receiver?
I'm pretty fast. I think I'm up there. With the rest of the receivers, I'm definitely not faster than them, but I think I could hang for sure.
Yeah. So do you think you're one of the faster punters in the country?
I'd say I'm the fastest if I'm being honest.
I'll take that. Here you are a freshman, and you're out there every day with Zeke Rankin, who is a grizzled veteran, has a terrible mustache, and coach's son. His dad's won 1 million state championships. Does he take you under being a young guy? Is it competition? Is he helping you out? How does that go?
Yeah, so something you'll notice early on about Zeke.
I give Zeke a hard time anyway. So
I can tell, yeah.
So don't be surprised.
Yeah, don't come after him for the mustache. I wish I could grow one. We got all the guys got it rocking.
Grow a good one.
He's very encouraging. Early on we had four freshman specialists coming this year. And he wants nothing but the best from all of us. And his ability to just lock in on his craft. He won't really talk to anyone when he's kicking. He's locked in. But then when it's someone else's turn, he's always encouraging. You'll always hear him on the film. Whoever's kicking, if Zach's kicking, he's like, let's go 3-5, let's go. He's very encouraging. And that's just, something that really brings results out of you, knowing that your brothers want that success for you that they want for themselves. So.
Yep, and that's all part of it. And I think Coach Pascal being here has really shined a new light on just how many plays in a game all you specialists are involved in. Whether it's you in the punt game or the kick game or the return game, because it's very, very important.
It is, yeah. Special teams really, the field position battle, is a huge aspect of the game. I know he says in meetings, I'm not sure the exact percentage, but when you win the field position battle, you're a lot more likely to win the game than you are to lose, no matter who you're playing. And you'll see that, in decisions on the field. Sometimes, we were just talking about this over here, sometimes it's better to punt, and trying to pin a team inside their 10 than it is to, risk, taking a long field goal. And so, the whole aspect of special teams is huge, and that's why he takes so much pride in making sure every single person, on each unit, is doing their job, the best of their ability, because it really does, make a game.
It amazes me that you as a freshman have done so well, whether it's, we're in a position on the field where we need to change field position and we need a 55-yarder out of you, or if you're on that line that's almost no man's land where really a 32-yard punt inside the 5 is going to be the best for us, you're willing to step up and go either way.
Yeah, for sure. I think I've made a lot of progress in my maturity as a punter coming into college, realizing you're not just trying to, kick it as hard as you can every time. Even in the open field, sometimes it's better to hold back and hit a 40-yarder that gets fair caught, 0 return yards, than it is to, hit a 50, 60-yard ball that, they have a chance to return. Like you're saying, for that no man's land, being able to pin it inside the 10, that's huge. It really shrinks an offensive coordinator's playbook. It's like I like to say, it's like having golf clubs. You got different clubs you use. Sometimes you bring out the driver. Sometimes it's that, little lob wedge. And then sometimes you got your smooth, your 7-iron, 8-iron. So just being able to control those different, clubs, as I say.
Understand you're a car guy.
Not really, but I know Caitlin wrote that question down.
So, what would be your dream ride?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was a big Transformers fan growing up, and so that Camaro, that mid-year, that 2010, 2012 Camaro is like, that's my dream car. It's just been like that, since I saw it. The Bumblebee.
Mine was the Trans Am that was in Smokey and the Bandit.
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, I know. I'm showing my age right there, but that's not unusual. That's kind of a daily thing. Also, with high-performance vehicles, if you had the opportunity to get on a rocket to the moon, would you go or would you not go?
Just like an Elon Musk
kind of deal, yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely go. That'd be awesome. I know we had a discussion at practice one day whether or not the moon landing was real, so maybe I'd be the first to do it. But
you could prove it was.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, you've had a great year. Absolutely great freshman year. Look forward to all that's still ahead, and a couple of games here remain in the regular season, and it's so fun to have a great kid who's local and having great success. Really proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Absolutely. Grant Chadwick, our punter from Tullahoma, Tennessee. We'll take a timeout. Coach rejoins me right after this on the Blue Raider Network from Van Wagner.
How do you create a tradition of leadership? You power it with impressive towing and hauling, sharpen it with smart features like a mobile generator, and dominate the game 47 years straight. That's Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks, a legacy of excellence, only at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Available features. See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions based on 1977 to 2023 total sales.
Roscoe Brown is proud to be a longtime supporter of MTSU athletics and your locally owned HVAC and plumbing company for over 80 years. Roscoe Brown has been the trusted name for heating, cooling, and plumbing for Middle Tennessee homeowners and businesses. Call 888-MY-ROSCOE to schedule your HVAC or plumbing service today. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Roscoe Brown. People you know, a name you trust. Go Blue Raiders.
Roscoe Brown. RoscoeBrown.com.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in supporting and treating Middle Tennessee State University athletes. Providing expert treatment of injuries to bones, joints, or muscles, TOA's team of orthopedic specialists can get you back in the game. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Injured? Visit one of our many ortho urgent cares, or to make an appointment, call 1-855-NEED-TOA or visit www.toa.com. TOA, the official team doctor for Blue Raider Athletics.
The MTSU Alumni Association is proud of its more than 130,000 living alumni who are leading, teaching, entertaining, researching, flying, farming, nursing, and more worldwide. Every Blue Raider accomplishment adds value to your degree. Are you connected to the MTSU National Alumni Association? Visit mtalumni.com to share what you're doing. Update your information and see how you can be involved and informed. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Plan ahead.
That's 30.
Success. Put Lead Company on your team for all your facility and home maintenance needs. They are proud to be an official partner of the MTSU Blue Raiders and have serviced homes and businesses for 80 years. For the very best heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical services, call Lead Company at 615-867-1000. Visit them at leadcompany.com or call 615-867-1000.
Coming up in 3.
Well, welcome back into the Boulevard, and Derek Mason live, the head coach of the Blue Raiders, with us. Tonight's show brought to you in part by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Middle Tennessee State University Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy responsibly. Bud Light. This week, the Blue Raiders are back at home as they take on the New Mexico State Aggies, 1:30 on Saturday, but it is a busy week in Blue Raider athletics tomorrow night. An old rivalry in women's basketball as the Lady Raiders will host Tennessee Tech. That will be at 6:30 tomorrow night at the Murphy Center. On Thursday, the Blue Raiders will take on the Bobcats of Ohio U in Myrtle Beach. They'll have a second game against either South Florida or Portland on Friday, and then a game on Sunday as well. So a lot of stuff happening during the overlap period. And Coach, you had a chance to hear Grant Chadwick, and that's got to be one of the really satisfying parts of your job, is to have to hear kids like that as a true freshman jumping up here, doing what he's doing on the field, but also just an outstanding overall person.
Yeah, Grant is an outstanding student, outstanding athlete, and really good person. So that's really what we want in our program. That's what we aspire to. Listening to him, I'm not surprised. That great Tullahoma.
That's right.
Education.
That's right.
That right now, I'm sure everybody back in Tullahoma is, been pretty excited to have heard Grant, and he represented well. So let's go Blue.
Yep, absolutely. Also this week will be Senior Day, which you've got 21 guys who will walk as graduates. You've got there's a couple of guys who have already had their Senior Day elsewhere that won't be walking. But for these 21, it is an interesting makeup because, it is a reflection of where we are in the overall roster. You've got guys who are 4-year, 5-year, 6-year guys who've been here the whole time. Right. You've got other guys who will go through Senior Day who've been here for 1 year. But right. But all will go through Senior Day as a Blue Raider.
You know what? It's a different day and age. It's a unique experience. And, what I can say is, when you go to a place, you're as a transfer, you don't quite know what to expect. But I think our young men, have sort of integrated and sort of fell into this culture here and done a pretty good job. I know these young men who've been here, over time, like MTSU's meant the world to them, and they've meant the world to MTSU. So, this is something that they don't forget. They won't forget. Last opportunity to play in that stadium. So it's pretty cool.
And for the guys who've been here 4 years, 5 years,
yep.
Here they know going into their final year, all of a sudden there's a coaching change.
Yeah.
And they have to embrace you, and you have to embrace them, and that's happened.
Yeah, this group has been interesting. Maybe every part of what we set out to accomplish, that hasn't totally happened or come to fruition, but it's not without this idea that, we haven't, worked towards trusting each other. We haven't, put in the work or sweated or, had good things happen, had unfortunate things happen. I think when they look back at the investment of this year, 10 years from now, what they'll say is, those are people, man, I can call. Those are people that I talk to, and those are people that if I need a reference or, anything in life, we're there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, we're going to step aside. Final segment coming up. We'll look ahead, get a little scouting report on the Aggies of New Mexico State after this, as you listen to Derek Mason Live on the Blue Raider Network from Van Wagner.
How do you create a tradition of leadership? You power it with impressive towing and hauling, sharpen it with smart features like a mobile generator, and dominate the game 47 years straight. That's Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks, a legacy of excellence, only at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Available features. See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions based on 1977 to 2023 total sales.
Roscoe Brown is proud to be a longtime supporter of MTSU athletics and your locally owned HVAC and plumbing company for over 80 years. Roscoe Brown has been the trusted name for heating, cooling, and plumbing for Middle Tennessee homeowners and businesses. Call 888-MY-ROSCOE to schedule your HVAC or plumbing service today. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Roscoe Brown. People you know, a name you trust. Go Blue Raiders.
Roscoe Brown. RoscoeBrown.com.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in supporting and treating Middle Tennessee State University athletes. Providing expert treatment of injuries to bones, joints, or muscles, TOA's team of orthopedic specialists can get you back in the game. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Injured? Visit one of our many ortho urgent cares, or to make an appointment, call 1-855-NEED-TOA or visit www.toa.com. TOA, the official team doctor for Blue Raider Athletics.
The MTSU Alumni Association
Last 30.
proud of its more than 130,000 living alumni who are leading, teaching,
Perfect.
researching, flying, farming, nursing, and more worldwide. Every Blue Raider accomplishment adds value to your degree. Are you connected to the MTSU National Alumni Association? Visit mtalumni.com to share what you're doing. Update your information and see how you can be involved and informed. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Coming up in 3.
Welcome back in. Final segment with Coach Derek Mason. Again, we'll be here next Monday as well for our final show of the regular season. This week, Middle Tennessee and New Mexico State, the Aggies will come to town, and the Blue Raiders 2-0 in Murfreesboro all time against New Mexico State. They've got a new staff, a new group of players there, but they have been playing well as of late, and they've really been running the ball.
Yeah, Coach Sanchez was on Coach Keel's staff and actually was retained. Really good ball coach. That football team knows how to run the football. They've got two backs right now that are close to 1,200 yards rushing. They've got a quarterback who can run the football as well. So you have a triple threat. Okay, I mean, you got a dynamic duo of running backs. You got a triple threat, okay, with the quarterback. And defensively, they do an outstanding job of making you earn everything that you get. I mean, they've got front-level guys, second-level guys, and they've got a safety on the back end, and who's a ball hawk.
Yeah, they have not thrown it a ton,
Right.
and not because that's not their stock in trade.
Right.
So what are because they do have a quarterback that can run, and it means you have to account for him. He's not a Caden Salter, but he has been a workman-like guy for the Aggies all year.
And they have a couple of quarterbacks. They'll use both, right? So, I mean, we're looking to see a couple of quarterbacks. Quarterback run has been problematic. Obviously, versus Kennesaw State, it was not. When you looked at Jack State and you had a chance to look at Liberty, it was. For us, it's been not so much about what we do scheme-wise. It's about assignments. And really, you have to be clean with your eyes, man. You got to tackle. These backs for New Mexico State are big backs. They're downhill backs. Okay, but you have to put body on body. Okay, when you talk about getting backs down, and you got to be able to what we call disrupt the motors, right? You have to stop their legs. So the tackling can't be, top tackling. It's got to be down low tackling. Okay, it's got to be wrap tackling, and then it's got to be population to the ball. They've turned it over. They didn't turn it over like this past week. They've been a ball hawking group the last 2 weeks. So right now, we got a game in front of us.
Yeah, certainly do. 1:30 on Saturday, on the air at noon with countdown, our tailgate show, and then countdown to kickoff. All the best of luck and have a great senior day.
Let's go Blue.
All right, for Coach Derek Mason, this is Chip Walters saying thanks for being with us tonight. Be sure to join us for Lady Raider basketball on the Blue Raider Network tomorrow night. So good night from the Boulevard for the Blue Raider Network and Van Wagner.